All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Rakugo, Season 1, Episode 11.
Last episode ended off on a bit of a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Seeing Konatsu and seeing her doing her father's Rakugo.
Yep.
Seeing her there alone and seeing her so small and little and realizing that this is the little girl that Yakumo is going to be taking under his wing for the long future. Yeah, that just hit really hard.
Yes.
Just hit really hard.
Just a little bit.
So we're going to have to see where Roku and Miyokichi's situation is now. Right. But given Miyokichi's promise, she does not want to see Yakumo again. So will she avoid him? What will she be doing? What will Roku be doing? Because I get the vibe that he's probably doing some Rakugo, but the idea that his Rakugo is something that's probably more on a personal note, like something that he just does to feel, to feel like he's still connected to it. But it has to be something that he does enough that Konatsu has mimicked him and started doing his Rakugo as if it's, her own. We are coming up on the end of the first season.
Which means Sukeroku's not long for this world.
Sukeroku's not long for this world, and also we're going to have to see where Yakumo screws up to the point that Konatsu blames him for this, despite her being such a young age at this point here.
Right.
So this might be something where we're going to get another time skip. Or this is
or maybe this will be like we'll get some happiness once more.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of happiness to show that there was something that he really screwed up.
Yeah, and that way it can hurt even more when it goes to the despair of Sukeroku dying. Yeah,
because we know that very much like his mentor who passed away in the last episode, Yakumo is going to end up, at least in the beginning of where the present day is, an old man filled with regret, waiting to die alone. But okay, yeah.
All right.
Let's now that positive note is out of the way.
Yeah.
Let's get into some sadness. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. All right, everyone, to be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion. Oh, I love this show. I love this show so much.
Me too.
This is
I hate it.
Some good stuff.
And I hate it at the same time.
So we got Yakumo coming back for Sukeroku. Konatsu leads him back to Sukeroku. Sukeroku and Miyokichi have split up. Miyokichi wasn't able to convince Sukeroku to work because she killed his dream specifically for Rakugo because it reminds her too much of the pain of her past. So, therefore, Konatsu ends up taking care of her dad at like age, 8 years old or something like that?
No, like 4.
No, she's not 4.
It was a 5-year time skip since they left.
Okay. If she's actually 4 years old, that's freaking amazing. Like, that's amazing.
I mean, maybe, like, they did a bit of a time skip there, so maybe it's, maybe now she's a bit older, but...
Yeah, and someone can confirm that to us, what her age is, but it does not matter because she's extremely young, is the point. She's extremely young. Sukeroku lighting up with joy, though, upon knowing that Bon is back. That's the good stuff right there. Because here's what's so tactful here, Jacob. Like, you obviously, like, tapped into this as well. It's like... When you realize how much pain there is regarding Rakugo because of how it's tied back to the past, which what Yakumo represents with his master, we then see that despite all of that, just having his Bon-chan back just makes him just come to life. A guy who would probably have rather just laid down and died, really.
So...
You want me to keep discussing things because I can keep going? Yeah, so we've got this whole setup where he basically says, hey, you're in debt, you need help, I'm here for you, buddy, I'm here. Gives away all of his money, basically says, we'll just work things together from the ground up, build it up back where we started there. I want you to come back to Tokyo and be Yakumo. This is so much more than, like, you deserve this way more than I do. There's so much of the history of your master and stuff that's tied to your name that we're going to make that work out here. And then, despite him being like, no, I don't want any of that crap, he's then able to do all of this stuff and build everything back up for Konatsu's sake. And in some ways also for Yakumo's sake, because he's here making this happen. Now, this is a little bit of Yakumo again dragging Roku around in order to make this stuff happen. But we're here. Yeah. Roku's going to perform. He's going to perform with Yakumo on a stage. And this is right before, obviously, things are going to get really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. We got our wholesome bit.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
No.
No, but can you keep carrying this, or do you want me to keep going?
So the stuff that happened this episode was fantastic. It was fantastic seeing Konatsu and the interactions with Bon and the reunion with Roku and everything, and that was great. And seeing Roku start to light back up, with Rakugo, and but just how painful it was for him, and that he absolutely did not want to go anywhere near that. And then but then seeing Konatsu and how much she was enjoying, hearing how much she was enjoying Bon's Rakugo, and then the two of them going for it together, and the fact that they were able to have this happy little life for a little bit. So I'm not, you may have heard us talk about this in a few different shows, but, so I'm a real sucker for family dynamics in storytelling, especially brother dynamics or just general family dynamics when the people aren't actually family. Reason for that is because we had 3 brothers that we took in a while back. Our family was like, they were our foster brothers for a while, and then we became legal guardians and all that stuff, and basically, long story short, all 3 of them at different times ended up going Roku. And that hurt. That hurt a lot. And there were parts of it where it was like, was there anything different that we could have done? Because the whole idea of them not feeling like they were just as much family as, me and Caleb are, or anything like that. You can't know what that must have been like for them, right? And we did our best and everything, and during the good points, they were family, or at least they knew they were family, I think. Yep. But they ended up leaving, probably because they didn't think they were family, and a lot of it was because old family would come in and make them think otherwise, right? And it wasn't something that just happened. It was something that happened 3 different times, once with each of them, and it wasn't over at that point. Was the thing is that there's still times where we hear from them, or there would be times even where they would
go and see them,
or they'd even come back, and they'd be wanting to come back home, right? Sort of.
Not really, though.
But only sort of is the problem. And it was usually something where, because they had a problem with the situations that their own decisions put them into, and they wanted a break from the consequences of those decisions. But they didn't actually want to
be family.
Yep. And that hurt even more, because it gets your hopes up and all this stuff and everything. So even though I figured something like this would probably happen, for maximum possible impact and stuff, I just wasn't quite ready for it.
In Rakugo.
Yeah. In this show, I mean, in real life too. But, so, yeah, and the idea that it could end up being something where specifically Miyokichi, she swore revenge. Now, when that happened, I was I wasn't sure how seriously or literally to take it, because clearly she had been spurned, you know, like Kiku had seriously messed up, right? But I wasn't exactly sure what the consequences of that were going to be. But I get the feeling this is going to be something where she is actively now going to be the wedge. It wasn't just something where she was, you know, maybe the wedge earlier, right, in the beginning, right? Because that could be a lot of more of Sukeroku doing things that you know, basically made him split off and whatnot. You know, everything that happened with the old sensei, and it was a lot of stuff the old sensei did, but and that's, I don't know if she's the kind of person to do that, but I know that people do. Spiteful isn't a strong enough word for it. Hateful, and I really mean that word. Yep. They do hateful things when they've been hurt. Hurting people hurt people. Yep. And that's a general case.
Yeah.
When it's in a specific case where they think there's someone that hurt them, and let's be real. Kiku did hurt Miyokichi, right? Yep. She is going to do some hateful things, I think, right? And now Sukeroku's going to suffer for it. Konatsu's going to suffer for it. Yakumo's going to suffer for it. She's going to suffer for it.
Yep. That stuff, though, I think is one way to look at it. Mm-hmm. The fact that she cried, though, when she said, "Kiku, you finally came."
Yeah.
What I think is actually really important to bring up, though, is that I don't think she's now become some one-note character who doesn't hold complicated feelings inside of her.
Oh, totally.
So I don't think she's actually going to go straight to hateful things.
I don't think so either.
I don't even think she's necessarily going to do hateful things.
Okay. I hope not, but...
Okay. What I think is very possible to happen here is that she goes to see him. Specifically him.
Oh,
not Sukeroku.
Yeah.
She doesn't care about she doesn't care about them. They were her revenge on Kiku.
Right.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And in some ways, his actions might have now just undone the revenge. So she might look at this and go,
sure,
wait, there's a chance that I can get everything back. And then he's going to say no.
Right. And he's not going to do it in some like spiteful way, I don't think.
No, I think if anything,
because I think he'll have grown since then. But it's the, I'm sorry, like that. That's not on the table.
And if anything, the one thing that he really could do that would be not dirty, but it would be expected in a way,
is to apologize.
No. Is something that I would see, something that he would do because of how he responded when he heard about what Sukeroku was doing with the situation with Konatsu.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be like, how dare you? How dare you abandon your daughter? Like, I don't think he's going to say anything spiteful. Right. But I think he could say some things that are
basically the tough love when
rubbing salt in a wound.
Right, exactly.
That he doesn't necessarily even have the
the
right to do.
Right. Well, while there may have been a point a long time ago, when that would have been something that it would have been okay for him to do.
Yeah, where he had a role to speak into her life.
Right, exactly. Because he was, he still is a very important person to her, but
they were close.
They were very close.
Yep.
Now, absolutely not.
Yeah. So I feel like the max level of hateful thing that could happen here is that there ends up being some kind of a tussle outside the theater hall.
Yeah.
And it's her new guy with Sukeroku or what have you. Because either, this is my thought.
Oh.
Sukeroku has to die at some point.
Yep.
But it has to be in a way in which at least Yakumo and Konatsu are there, but also some other party that caused the death, basically.
Right, exactly.
Because it's not going to be literally Yakumo killing him, of course not.
Right, and I'm guessing it's not going to be some car that whacks Sukeroku or something, right?
Exactly. If that is the thing, it's going to be that someone pushed him into a situation where he would end up dying.
Yeah.
I still don't think Miyokichi is going to be the one that's going to maybe do something like that. But here's a perspective scenario we could have here. She goes to Kiku and she's like, let's make this, you know,
let's get back together. And
the other guy follows him there and is like, what the hell? Like, you're with me. Why are you doing this? And then grabs her, tears her away from Kiku, and he's like, stay away from her.
And then
like,
Suke
Roku sees someone basically mistreating her or something like that. They fight, takes it outside. Suke Roku is not well still.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then because of all this. Yeah.
Right. And the.
Yeah. Like, and that would be a very simple way to do it that would give a lot of pain when Konatsu comes out of the theater and is like, what's happening? And then Yakumo's crying over.
And one of the so with the story that I told about, one of the worst parts that would happen is when you would see them out of the blue, when you know, suddenly they're at the door, right? And to say that they're not themselves is an understatement. They are so drugged up, drunk, whatever, all sorts of other things, and along with whatever ridiculous self-talk must have been going on through their heads over the years, maybe since we last saw them, that they are, you talk to them and they're completely unrecognizable. Right. To the point where a lot of the times they're not even able to almost make coherent like sentences.
In some ways this show is a much nicer version of what reality tends to often be.
Because
because we want to make this entertainment, you know. Still.
And there's always the hope that maybe there could get to a point where it's something like this happy montage that we got with Suke Roku, right? But usually it's not even that, right? It's something where you're hoping that maybe it can move in that direction, but doesn't get that far. Doesn't get that far. And maybe you think it's gotten that far for a little bit, but you're not really looking at reality. And that hurts
a lot.
That really hurts. So
I loved how wholesome they made everything with Konatsu. There were so many moments where we were just like, oh, the pain of this whole situation. And I actually got really pissed at Suke Roku as well, because you were right. Her money was to go for feeding her dad. Now, okay. Once they got everything past that, and now, you know, Yakumo is helping there, I'm like, okay, this is wholesome. But I still want to bring up something that is still rather painful. Is that after this here, you still see Suke Roku is just back in his old kind of way of doing things. He's not really changed.
And
he's more, if anything, gone back to his this is how we do things.
I feel like this is, well, it's something where there's so much habit that's been built up for Suke Roku, right? And it's something that well, as we learned later, it was habit to make him feel better because there were other things that were not getting addressed and things like that. So he had to, you know, drown them out, basically. Now we have something that's even more of a reason why he's going to be in the dumps, right? Like, just confidence and self-talk and everything, and, you know, all compounding on top of each other so that he is in a really bad way. And it's not something that you just get out of. It's something that when, like,
you build new patterns,
but
for a very long time,
for a very long time, and it's something where you have to be so desperately going after it that almost nothing else exists to you, and then maybe, just maybe, you can change your fate, you know, like because otherwise those habits are a prison. They are a prison.
When I saw him in the bath and him not working, that literally broke my heart, because I'm like, do you not get it? Konatsu is in your life now. I don't care about your personal stuff or anything like this. There are people, and this is something that I think is just a hard truth, but there are people that shouldn't have kids.
Oh, definitely.
When I say, like, they shouldn't have kids, I mean, like, if they don't change who they are, meaning they are that person, they should never have kids. Because a child coming into this world is innocent. They are completely innocent. I don't care the circumstances about that, but the moment you start to basically twist things aware to where they don't actually matter to you in that sense of it. Yeah, I'm being a little harsh here, but that kind of stuff here is where I love that that Yakumo came into his place there, and instead of coming to his place, and was like, hey, get the hell out of bed, get your ass out of bed. And we're gonna shape things up around here.
And in a lot of ways, so Yakumo comes in and he helps, right?
Yes.
And it is a big help.
It's a huge help.
It is a huge help.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways too, though, the very fact that Yakumo was so excited to be able to go back to the happy times where things were good is one of the things that... Now, it's all Tsukiroku's decision, right? Tsukiroku has to want it. And quite frankly, he doesn't really want it. He wants the benefits of it, but he doesn't actually want the pain of making it happen.
Yeah.
But in a lot of ways, maybe if Yakumo had stayed the hard ass that he was at the beginning, maybe that would have been enough to get through to Tsukiroku. But you can never know. You can never know in these situations.
That's the thing. That's the thing that I really like about this, is we made it very clear here, not we, but the show made it very clear here why he's actually here.
Yeah.
And the reason why he's here is somewhat of a selfish one.
Yeah.
He wants him to take the Yakumo title. He wants him to take the Yakumo name.
Yeah.
Here's the big deal, though. He's not going to do it.
Right.
There is nothing you can do, Bon, that is going to make him take that name. We know this because we have the future sight or what have you of knowing what happens in the present. But even if we didn't have that, the story has told us over and over and over again that he's not going to do that. There's almost nothing really. Konatsu could eventually be the forcing function that would make him want to do that, because all she would have to do is be like, wait, you could be the face of Rakugo in this region or in this country or what have you. Oh my gosh, my dad, you are so cool. Like,
and
that
yet
would be amazing.
And yet it's not enough.
It isn't enough.
Because while that's powerful, and Konatsu's adorable little face, with a smile and everything and laughing and everything, that can do a lot. It needs to end up coming from the inside, even if it doesn't necessarily start there. There has to come a point where a fire gets lit under your ass, and then you say, "That's what this is change that needs to happen."
Yeah, this is who I am.
Exactly. In a lot of ways, the strongest thing that made me actually finish battle lines was because I saw people that were Tsukiroku with writing.
Yeah.
I saw people where it was something that was wonderful to them. It made them come alive.
Tell that specific story. I know what you're talking about. And now it's a
demon,
yeah,
right?
The professor.
Tell that story. I only took one actual college official creative writing class, right?
Right.
And there was this professor that it was terrifying. It was terrifying. Like, it felt like that episode in Monogatari where Araragi goes into Hanakawa's house. I don't know if you've necessarily seen Monogatari, but that was what it felt like. Where I see someone where I can tell this is their passion. This is what makes them come alive. And it terrifies them. Yeah. They don't go near it with a 39.5-foot pole. They would give out assignments that are basic assignments, nothing complicated, right? And just little writing exercises and things like that to have us practice and then share with the class, kind of a thing. And she would say all the time, "Oh yeah, I'll do it with you." Tsukiroku equivalent. "Oh yeah, I'll go out and get a job," right? And she wouldn't. And you could tell with any time she brought it up, right? It was this thing that was eating her alive inside, and yet she didn't actually buckle down and
just do it,
right? Yeah. And it was such a cycle. It was such a cycle where I could see that this was almost like outside of her control. Like she couldn't, there was so much built up negative association because it was the dream that she didn't go after, that she felt she had to go after, but she wouldn't actually do it. Mm-hmm. It was terrifying, and that was one of the big things that basically made me be like, I have to finish this because I can't let myself become like that.
Yeah. And
if I don't, I know that's where I'll end up, right?
Right.
And
And just hearing him tell that story to me for the first time gave me chills that still like reverberate within me to this day.
Because it happens, and there are so many people that are in Sukeroku's situation or on some other like point along that arc, right? That downward spiral, and like the professor is the example that hit the closest home for me because it was with writing, and it's someone that's specifically supposed to be teaching it, right? So you would think they would be pretty good at it, and the fact they're even teaching writing is because they can't give it up, but they can't go towards it either, right? But like, I mean, I'm sure you've met tons of people like this too, where you see that happening, and you try and tell them, you try and help them, whatever. But nothing that you do will save them. They have to save themselves, right? You can give them the opportunities, but they have to grab it.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, being just really honest with y'all here, like that aspect is found in me at certain passions and stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I actually get angry when people give me excuses as to why they're not going after their dreams. Like I actively am not able to empathize with them, really. Like
because you see that part of yourself.
I see that part of myself in there. So I'm like, no, screw your excuses. Go do your thing, and don't give me any of this like petty.
Where did all your fire go?
Because I'm more angry at myself in specific areas.
Right. It's the thing of like, are we even still alive? Like, what's going on? Why can't we do the thing that we know we desperately want to do?
Yeah.
That would make us think that was a really good life. Yeah, that's a part of who I am. Right. Why?
Yeah. We get into some really weird traps and lies that put us basically give our even ability to walk in that thing.
And can you blame people when that ends up happening, right? With the different like circumstances and things like that, right? In life and everything. Yeah, you should totally get it. But then there are still these opportunities to change things, even if it's ridiculously difficult. And
this part here really made me upset in the show when he's got Sukeroku's trying to be hospitable,
and serve tea, and Kanatsu's
he's just like, lying out the wazoo about all these specific things here. He's like, I don't got much, but make yourself at home. And he's like, no way, I can't do this. And then he's like, oh, it's been this way since she's left. It's like, she'll come back though. She's always like this. She can't have gone too far. Just that whole thing of
Yep.
Yeah, and then all this, I'm sick of it. I haven't even done it in a long time. Like, it's like these are the kinds of things where he's got so much pain and hold on. Yes, pain associated with the thing that is his passion that he doubles down on lying to himself so that he can be like, yeah, I don't actually care that much about any of that. No, of course not.
Yep.
Then when someone else comes into the situation, that's when the pride rears up and he goes, no. Don't try to have pity for me.
Right.
Like, I already have enough of that for myself.
Exactly. Because I'm doing just fine. Right. And that's the thing that's kept like every time our foster brothers would come back, that's always the thing that makes them leave, right?
Yep.
Is the idea that they can't actually admit that I'm terrified, I don't know what to do. Like, they're constantly trying to make it be like, oh yeah, everything's going great. With varying levels of like believability based on how sober they aren't,
Yeah. Then I have to bring this up. I'm sorry, Jacob. They bring this up in the a point where they've already done a little bit of wholesome stuff together. But then you see the point where Sukeroku's like, "Hey, why don't you complain much?" Because he's like, that was the first and only time I'd seen you cry when they first met. And then he was like, "Hey, what does he say here?" He's like, "Why don't you complain a little now and then?" What's interesting here is that this is coming from the person who just earlier, I mean, obviously there was a bit of a time skip, but earlier was unwilling basically to talk about how bad things were.
Yep.
And now that I'd say Sukeroku's in a little bit of a better place here,
yes.
He's realizing, hey, wait a minute, you have the same problem I do.
Yeah.
What? But like,
why don't you?
Why
don't you complain? Why don't you let yourself cry? Yeah.
I resonate so strongly with Yakumo here when he basically says, "I didn't think that was allowed." He says, "Complain, eh?" He's like, "I thought if that was a thing that I wasn't allowed to do." And he says, and he skips over it, but you look at this look from Natsuki Roku here.
I know.
And he's looking at him as he kind of deftly changes the subject. And he's got this pained, sad look in his eye of like, wait, like, who's been there for you, you know, all this time? Like, you came here really just for the companionship and the connection. You needed that.
Did you doubt our relationship so much that you weren't able to do that at least
me.
in front of me? And also potentially the whole idea that you're not able to do that. So what about me? I've actually got some real stuff to complain about, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And then he's talking about how much he enjoys the simple, fun, tiny venue Rakugo stuff. And he's like, I thought I was going to do Rakugo. It'd be wrong to think that way. And he's like, it's because you can see the audience. Natsuki Roku is saying, you said you were fine being alone. Basically, like zooming in on the point here. It's but you really can't do Rakugo by yourself. And this is the thing. They're not talking about the literal crowd of people, of audience here. Because then the very next thing he brings up is when the audience really wants you, there's just the right amount. Not too many, not too few. Meaning that the audience can literally be just one other person out there that cares enough about you, that wants that connection with you, that makes everything you do worthwhile.
Yep.
And so then you can properly see each other. Give them the best performance.
The emotional back and forth.
The emotional back and forth, which is literally the thing that they talk about and do at the end of the episode, which was they all share the Rakugo experience together as they're all each other's audience.
Right.
And there's just this scene in the bath. I almost don't even want to discuss the actual Rakugo that they do at the end there, because it's just like, yes, that's just, it's beautiful, it's wonderful and lovely. But there's so much character stuff going on in the hot tub scene that it hurts. It hurts because I personally don't like to complain. I am a person personally who finds complaining as being a thing that turns me off. One, from connecting with an individual.
Yeah, it can screw up your focus. Like,
Right. But then also, because in a lot of ways, I have so many things that I'm internally struggling to kind of reconcile with the way that I currently am, that I don't want to have that kind of negative tendency brought into my environment so that I feel like I have an excuse to not move forward. Meaning, like, if I can just move forward and be like, nope, just stuff that complaining stuff down.
Yep.
I've realized over the course of my life that that's a huge area of pride. That's a huge blind spot there.
And the thing is that and what causes that to be a difference then between, you know, like Yakumo and Natsuki Roku or you know, us and our foster brothers or whatever, is just that with the particular set of circumstances and in our own, you know, ability to do that while functioning in certain other ways effectively, right? Who knows what those situations are, right? But whatever aspect of that is simpatico with our environment, that is basically what determines whether we end up, you know, doing all right or we end up spiraling into downward awfulness that we can't get out of. Because we all end up going into those downward spirals for a little bit, right?
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
But the thing is how long do they last? How long do they last? And one, if we're not alone, because that's very important, because that's the whole point of downward spirals, is that you can't get out. You're focused down.
You need to literally bump into something that
jostles your perspective. Yeah,
that's not just a static force, something that moves against you in opposition to that thing. And right here, the show is giving us that perfect bit of dramatic, I would say, tension as we're starting to relieve a little bit of Natsuki Roku's downward spiralness, even though we know, because of the way the story's been set up, that it's all going to be meaningless in the grand scheme of things, because he's going to die probably either as he clues into things or right before he does. Meaning that Kiku is going to be alone and not be able to...
Yes. But actually, no.
I know what you mean.
I know. But it needs to be said.
Yes.
There is a second season.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Even though Natsuki Roku dies, right? That's not the end of it,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
What happened, and the effects on you and other people and things like that, even if our foster brothers never come back.
Yep.
Right? that doesn't mean it was for nothing.
Yep.
That doesn't mean it was for nothing.
Yep. Right. The matter and the context or the meat of those time, those moments, those years, those specific things where the bonds were forged, and all that time still has a rippling effect in the present, in the future, that will lead to situations where, like in this actual show, the only reason why he ended up being what's a good word? Tolerant of Yotaro coming into the whole thing was because of how much he reminded him of Sukeroku.
Right.
And he just got lucky that some person of a similar type of person or personality or what have you would come into his life, giving him this opportunity at redemption, bringing back the whole cycle of how his master had this whole thing go to it, so that he could potentially also reconnect things with Konatsu, because over the course of those years, he spurned her, he's disconnected with her because of the pain. So now we get this whole opportunity for redemption, but will it also play out again with the cycle of, will it be too little, too late for even Yakumo to be able to change and have those meaningful relationships and all that good stuff?
And that's the thing, because even if Konatsu wasn't there, the effect still happened, right? And Yotaros are out there, right? Even if it's not something like, because the connection with Konatsu, right? Theoretically, that could be something that Yakumo could see pretty easily, right? Right? Okay. Even if he isn't mentally, emotionally, ready to mend things and all of that stuff, and she's not, and everything.
Well, he definitely wasn't, because at the beginning of
right. Yeah. But the idea is that you never know. You never know when there will be that chance encounter with someone, something happens, anything. And because of that awful thing that happened back then, right, this might actually turn out okay, or better than it otherwise would have.
Right. There's always that opportunity for something that can redeem a past painful situation.
Right. Yep. And even if, like in the case of, say, our foster brothers, right, well, where they're at right now isn't any good places. If they hadn't come to stay with us, I could imagine things could have been a lot worse. And by the way, it's not something where it just has to be something where it's some older person that's already set in their ways.
Yes,
right.
That's true. That's so true.
The youngest of the three was about Konatsu's age.
Yep.
When he came to stay with us.
Yeah.
That stuff runs deep, and it starts early.
It starts so early,
and that's why the whole thing about there's some people that just should not have kids, because it passes it on. It passes it on, and This episode.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
this show, y'all.
Yeah.
This show. It's funny because this show has been lauded by a couple people who are long-time community members of our Discord, and said that this is their favorite anime of all time.
And I see why.
I
definitely see why.
I see definitely why. And we're not even halfway through.
And it's making up for lost time of all that time it had to wait to win a poll.
Yeah. So,
oh boy.
Thank you for getting us to watch this one, Frosted. You championed the cause well.
Long suffering indeed.
So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and meaty discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there. It's an awesome community there about this show, about anime in general, stories in general, character dynamics, what have you. Like Jacob's awesome sci-fi novel that he wrote.
So I wrote a sci-fi novel. It's available for purchase on Amazon. It was basically me trying to take a lot of the stuff that I talked about in this discussion with foster brothers and all that stuff, and
family is more than blood.
Yeah, exactly. That all of that, and try and put it into a story somehow. It's available for purchase on Amazon. Link in the description. Hardback, ebook, both on there. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, go check it out.
Yeah. So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.